Staying healthy and performing self-care. Law firm growth during COVID-19, episode 85. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Profit with Law podcast. Today we have yet another replay of our COVID live stream series. Hopefully you are finding these valuable and not getting bored of them, but this is the final and last one. We did a 2-week stint, a 10-day series of live streams. Repurposed them all here on the podcast for those of you who could not attend live, who didn't know about it, or who prefer audio. If you did attend live and you don't want to listen to this, it's absolutely fine. Another episode is coming your way tomorrow, and that's going to be new and unique content for you. Really enjoyed the live stream that we're putting out here today. The title is Staying Healthy and Performing Self-Care, and I enjoyed it for many reasons. First of all, I have been spending significant effort over the course of the last year to prioritize my own personal health and self-care. Self-care is something that I never really focused on in the past and did a really poor job of at it. And since then, I've learned how to do guided visualizations. I definitely go and get myself pampered more often. And I've also started to focus on my health, become a triathlete, and put a Peloton in the house, and started to work with a personal trainer, do that twice a week. So a lot of changes for me in the last year. And actually, I have been finding it very challenging to continue to focus on that while this whole thing is going on with the pandemic and having the kids at home and trying to balance work and the kids and just maintaining order in the house. It sounds weird to say it that way, but cabin fever happens for little kids too, and it's definitely a challenge to keep them growing and evolving in a positive way, and not just park them in front of the TV and let that do the job. So we've been really careful with creating schedules and balancing between myself and my wife that the kids are really, entertained and stimulated during the day, which has put my health in the back seat. So really wanted to focus on this. And I like that we saved it for the last one, because at the beginning, everyone was just concerned about survival. At this point, you've been home for 2 weeks plus, maybe some of us already at the 3-week mark. And at this point, it's like, okay, now I'm getting cabin fever, and I kind of feel like any little thing is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And this is when it's the right time to really start to focus on staying healthy and performing self-care. So a very timely topic, very timely episode. Just real quick, you're going to be hearing from our expert panelists, Beverley, Simpson, Madison, Elizabeth, Katz, Amber, Brueseke, Miguel, Franco, and Molly McGrath. Except for Katz and Molly McGrath, the other 4 expert panelists actually are not currently serving in front of the legal industry. And I know them through other business connections, and they're all amazing people and really, really insightful, and understand what needs to be done and how you work. And I really enjoyed everything that they provided. One thing I'm going to warn you now is at the end, Madison Elizabeth closes us out with a guided meditation. So if you are listening to this while running, while in the shower, while driving, it's going to be difficult to do that guided meditation. You need to be able to stop somewhere, stop what you're doing, close your eyes, and go through it. It's not very long. So if you could give the few minutes at the end to do it, it's well worth it. It really, really works, and it changes you, it centers you, and it makes you, get a nice refresh. So definitely do it. But if you're, doing any of those things, you want to make sure that you are in a place to stop and be able to close your eyes and focus on it during those few minutes. So here you go. Really excited about this. And anything that needs to be linked up will be linked up in the show notes. And those show notes can be found at profitwithlaw.com/085. Profitwithlaw.com/085. Here is the replay.
Today, we are discussing your health and well-being, and staying healthy, performing self-care is the name of the topic. And I'm really excited about this topic because, gosh, if at this point in time, you're not ready to kill somebody in your household, then you're probably not a normal human being. I love my kids, love my wife, but man, we are stir crazy here. And the truth is that juggling a business and juggling taking care of the family has put my own self-care on the bottom rung of the ladder. And it's something that I personally am struggling with. And I'm sure that a lot of people out there are doing the same. Any business owner or even somebody who needs to be an employee work from home during this time, it's got to be difficult to be prioritizing yourself, and over time that takes a toll. And now at the 2-week period, maybe it's 3 weeks for you, depending on how early you started, and it's 3 weeks for us, you've gone the length of time that whatever has been bottling up inside is probably about ready to explode. So I think there's no time like the present to talk about this. So what I want to do is really quick, just go through and have our panelists introduce themselves. So I'll tell you who's up and who's going to be next, and this way you're prepared to unmute yourself and just introduce yourself to our audience and let them know who you are and how they can learn more about you if they want. And then we'll jump into the topic at hand. So I'm going to start with Beverley, and we'll go from there to Amber.
Before you start, Moshe, will you just make Molly a co-host?
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Great, thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Beverley Simpson. I'm the owner of Simpson Fitness, and I help moms get fit after birth the most safest and the most efficient way possible without leaving their house and without dieting.
Awesome, Beverley. Hey, glad to have you here. Amber, you're up. Allie, you're next.
Awesome. I'm Amber Brueseke, and I'm owner of Biceps After Babies, where I help women to be able to feel empowered in their fitness journey, to be able to reach all of their fitness goals. So Beverley and I have a very similar message and very similar audience, where we help mostly moms to be able to reach their health and fitness goals.
Yeah, I love how you stuck mostly in there, since I'm in your crowd. And Allie, you're up, and we're gonna go to Madison next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Katz, formerly Alexis Neely, and I'm from New Law Business Model, where we help lawyers to serve families and small business owners remotely, virtually, as a trusted advisor in their communities, and get paid really well to do it. And I would not be here if it had not been for a coach 20 years ago helping me realize that self-care is where it's at. At the time, I didn't even know what that was. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you about my self-care journey so you can do the same for yourself.
Awesome, Allie. Glad to have you here. Madison, you're up. Miguel, you're next.
Hi, I'm Madison. I'm a health coach and I'm a food freedom expert. And basically, I help women who are struggling with worrying about and thinking about food all the time. Should I eat this? Should I eat that? Is this bad for me? Is this good for me? And they're never feeling like they're getting it right. And I help them learn to retrust their bodies and be able to just eat in a balanced way without all of the anxiety and guilt and overanalyzing and obsession, and develop a happier, more peaceful, healthier relationship with food and with their body. And yeah, you guys can learn more about me at Sunny Times Coaching on Instagram, and it's times like the herb.
Awesome, Madison. Thank you so much for being here. Miguel, you are up, and Molly, you're next.
Hello, I'm Miguel Franco. I'm the founder of Conscious Path, and I help business leaders bring more coherence to the energies of people, money, and their own energy, so they can achieve high flow performance and manifest a fulfilling and abundant life. I also race cars, and I'm very much into creating like a healthy state of mind so you can perform better. So that's what I teach.
Awesome, Miguel. Thank you so much for being here. Molly, you're up.
Hi, I'm Molly McGrath, and I am the founder of Hiring and Empowering Solutions, and we've been supporting attorneys and small law firms for 22 years now in regards to everything around people, process, and profit. And like Allie, I feel very fortunate for the coaches that I've had in my life that have supported me with managing my health, my energy. And one unique thing about me as a business coach is that I'm also a certified master Reiki trainer. And I bring a lot of my energy alignment and healing into my coaching sessions with my attorneys.
Awesome. Good to know, Molly. All right. So as you guys can see, this is a stellar lineup of panelists that really are going to rock the house today in giving us the best tips that we can have for our self-care, our health, our well-being, and just making sure to stay on top of that, prioritize it, figure out how to navigate that in these uncertain times. Before I jump into the topic, though, just want to take a moment to talk about our sponsors. These live streams would not be possible without our sponsors and without their support, and I need to make sure that you know about them and the offers that they have for you. So first of all, we're sponsored by Mark Homer from GNGF. He wrote this book, Online Law Practice Strategies for Law Firm Owners, How to Turn Clicks into Clients. You can download that book for free. I'm sorry, you can't download that book for free. You can put in your information and get him to ship that book to you for free. And you can do that at gngf.com/free-book. And we're also sponsored by Katz, who's here on the call with us, New Law Business Model. They help attorneys who are either looking at getting into estate planning or are already doing estate planning get $3,000 to $5,000 per estate plan. They also help you with adding a business client service to your law practice, and you can bring $750 to $3,000 a month in recurring revenue per client into that side of the business. So if these numbers sound like something that you would really like for your law firm, then you want to learn more by joining her free Facebook group. And the name of the group is Lifestyle Lawyers Club. Lifestyle Lawyers Club. You want to go on Facebook and join that group. There's no cost to be involved there, and you'll get access to Allie and her great information. When you join, let them know you came through the Law Firm Growth Summit COVID live stream series, and they'll send you a video and a guide on how to serve clients virtually. Also, we're brought to you by Smith AI. Smith AI is your go-to virtual reception service, but they're more than a virtual reception service. They provide outbound calling services for you. They will input information into your CRM, into your practice management software. They will also install an AI chatbot on your website where you can have instant responses to people who are coming to your website and are asking questions there. So a little widget on the site where people can ask questions and then they get responses. That's monitored by those virtual receptionists, and they can add that into your practice management software, interact with your leads and with your clients that way. It's a great service, and they have a great offer for you. So if you sign up through this live stream, use the code SmithCovid19 when you do so, and their website is smith.ai. SmithCovid19 is the code. With that code, you get an extra, the first month free, an extra 20 calls, so that you get 20 calls free as it is. So you get 40 calls in total free. You also get the first month of the starter plan, and you also get the setup of that AI chatbot for free. That's a $290 value that they're giving absolutely free with the Smith COVID-19 code. And finally, I'm the host of the Profit with Law podcast, also the Law Firm Growth Summit. If you're not already a subscriber, you're not already listening to the show, please check it out. We've also been repurposing all these live streams onto the podcast. So if you've missed any of them and you just don't have the time to get in front of the video, you can listen to it while you're cooking, while you're baking, while you're running, while you're taking care of the kids. If you want to be distracted at that time, while you're in the shower, that's what I do with my Bluetooth speaker. Anytime that you want, listen to the podcast, consume the content, and definitely give us a rating and review if you like it. More importantly, I collaborated with Mark Homer from GNGF, the marketing guy, and with Melanie Leonard from Streamline Legal, who does all the tech and process implementation for law firms, and myself with the business acumen and the financials. The three of us have collaborated to support small law firms who are in the 0 to 250K revenue range. And your last opportunity is this weekend to join us at $27 a month. We're doing a call a week to support you. So every week you're going to have a call that's either going to be on marketing, tech, running your practice, or a Q&A, where you have access to us during that call. In addition, there's going to be core content built out. It's not there yet. That's going to walk you through the basics that you need to have in place for your law firm. So if you want access to this, it's going to be $150 a month when we're done. Right now, it's $27 a month. We're only accepting 30 spots in there. And folks, there's only 7 open spots at the moment of this live stream remaining. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. And Sunday night at midnight, or sometime between then and Monday morning, we're going to be increasing the price to $57 a month. So it's your last opportunity to get in at this founding member offer. And with all of that being said, let's jump right into our topic. So panelists, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, and we're going to go through you one by one, to give your top tip when it comes to performing self-care and staying healthy, especially considering what's going on today. We'll start with Amber and we'll go to Madison next.
Okay, awesome. So what I teach clients is always to work off of a goal. And so I think one of the best questions that you can be asking yourself at this period of time is, none of us know when this is going to end. None of us know like what's going to happen during the meantime, but what you can start to think about is how you want to feel and what position you want to be in when we get to the end. And then once you're really clear on that, you can reverse engineer the process in order to get you there. And one of the things that you can do right now is establishing a new routine. This isn't going anywhere. This is a new normal. And so and I kind of feel like people this week, maybe it's just the people that I interact with, but people this week are starting to accept that. The first 2 weeks, it was like, what is going on? Like, when is this going to be over? This is all, it's like crisis mode, right? And we're kind of moving into this now, like, no, this is kind of a new normal. And we have to learn to be able to how to live and thrive during this time. And you can live and thrive during this time. So being really intentional. And that's what we've done with our kids and myself specifically, of like, here's my intentional things that are going to help me to feel my best during the day, to help my kids to feel their best, and just making it a new routine so that we are getting the things in that are going to help us to be able to create those end results that we want.
Awesome, Amber. Thank you. Madison, you were next, correct? So Madison and then Miguel.
Yeah. So what's been really helping me is to ask myself the question, like, if I just showed up to Earth today, I've never been to Earth before, and I just show up and like, this is how things were, and we didn't know anything different, like, how would I think, how would I show up, how would I act, how would I live, how would I feel, and how can you tap into that now? Because this is what is, and all we have is now. And as much as we want to be certain about what's going to happen in the future, we're not. And so when we try to predict the future, usually our brains go into predicting a scenario that feels very, very scary. So asking yourself that question of like, if I just like showed up to Earth today and like, this is how it was, like, how would I think and how would I live? And I think like Amber said, it's really important to focus on like setting that intention. And for me, the intention I always come back to in terms of my health and self-care is like, what do I need today to feel good? And really prioritizing feeling good above everything else. And that doesn't mean that you are selfish or neglecting responsibilities. It just means that you're filling up your cup so that you can give that to others, and so that you can show up in your life right now the way that you want to and feel the way that you want to, because it's not the circumstances are tough, but it's not the circumstances that are creating our suffering. It's our thoughts about the circumstances. So if we can really start questioning those thoughts, asking ourselves better questions, and focusing on feeling good, we really can, like Amber said, just like, actually, I forget the exact words you used, like thrive and feel good and feel happy right now. We can do that.
Yeah, and if
Awesome.
I could just piggyback on what Madison said, sorry, I'm talking out of order. But
Go
I
for it.
do think that the point that she made at the very end is one that I want to like hammer home again, is that you can thrive. Like, this can be a period of thriving. And when you recognize that and you understand that, like, that is such an empowering place to be able to work from, is like, this can be a period that can be like the best thing that ever happened to you. And we have choices that we're making right now every single day of whether it's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to us or the best thing. And thriving is an option right now.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Amber. Miguel, you're up, and Allie, you are next.
All right. I think for me, the main self-care practice I think that we can do is to breathe. And of course, in a safe space, because the breath can self-regulate your system in every possible aspect, and also to calm me down and allow the good thoughts and feelings to emerge. And I've been doing this very consciously lately because, and I think it's very important to mention that, because we have things in our body that we really don't know what's going on, such as blood pressure. And I became obsessed with it because in November I broke my ankle and my blood pressure went off the roof, and the doctor said, oh, get a monitor. So I got a monitor and I got really hooked on that stuff. It's crazy because you keep looking at it and then you see the high numbers, it goes even higher. So I learned to lower that because you don't know that you are experiencing high blood pressure, and high blood pressure is stress and can lower your immune system. So my suggestion is to take deep breaths and to appreciate yourself, on an hourly basis. For me, it's every half an hour I stop, I put my hand in my heart, I think about something that I truly love about myself, and breathe. And it's incredible how it brings the blood pressure down, and you can monitor that. So it's not a woo-woo thing, it's a real thing. So I think that's my main tip for now.
Love that, Miguel. And I would love to learn some more about breath work, something I've never gotten into, but I've been learning. My mind has been getting open to different possibilities over time. And, I got into guided visualizations a couple of years ago, and I've been using those very heavily. So definitely going to check out those techniques and try it for myself.
And it can be, just to add to it, it can be very simple. It's just, like I'm learning to breathe through my heart. It's a very weird sensation, but instead of breathing, you just inflate from the thorax, and it's incredible how effective it is to lower blood pressure. I can talk more about it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm definitely going to try that, and I think that everybody should do the same, because I've been watching Miguel for a while, and some pretty incredible stuff that he is doing. We're going to go to Allie in just a moment, but before that, just quick housekeeping. The bottom of the Zoom chat, the Zoom window, there's a Q&A button. That is the appropriate place to post a question if you have one for our panelists. We're going to get to an open Q&A very shortly. So make sure that you write your question up, put it in there. But when you do, on the end of it, just put whether you're willing to go live. We'd love to bring you on live to have an interactive conversation with us. So if you're willing to do so, just make sure to put that in your question. So folks, please ask your question. Don't be afraid to ask. There's no question that's too stupid. Really, just understand that everyone else is sitting there afraid to ask their question. So just be the one to go and do it. All right, we're going to go to Allie and then Molly.
Hi, everybody. So I would say that the first thing is to be aware of self-care at 4 levels: physical, mental, emotional, and financial. And to really even begin to identify for yourself what self-care means in those 4 areas. When I first became a lawyer and I was at the big law firm and I ended up hiring a coach, and this was 20 years ago when people were not hiring coaches. And so that was a very weird thing to do. And after I made the decision to pay her what to me at the time felt like a huge amount of money, I think it was like $350 a month. And the very first thing that she started asking me about was, when's the last time you got your hair cut? When's the last time you went to the dentist? When's the last time you exercised? When's the last time you got a pedicure? And I was really angry. I thought, I'm not paying you $350 a month to ask me about my personal hygiene habits. And what she helped me to realize then is that what she was talking about is self-care, which I had no concept of at the time at all. And she said to me something that lived with me for the rest of my life, which is that, Alexis, if you are not taking care of yourself, you're never going to love your work. You can't possibly love what you do. That's why I had hired her to help me figure out why I had gone to law school and how I could love my work at the big law firm. And she helped me to see that I could never love what I was doing if I wasn't taking care of myself. And I had no context to know what that even meant. Nobody had ever shown me or modeled anything for me around self-care. So I think that the first step is even, really identifying on these 4 levels: physical, mental, emotional, and financial. What does caring for yourself actually mean? And then just recently, about a year ago, my business partner came to me and she said, I think I have anxiety. She said, I think I've been living with anxiety my whole life. And I began to help her to unpack what that meant. And what I saw in that process is that many of us as lawyers are living with a low level grade of anxiety that is just so natural to who we are that we don't even know it's what's driving us. And the first thing that I helped her to do is I helped her to start to hear her thoughts. And so I want to support all of you to just start listening to your thoughts in a new way, where you've lived with this voice in your head for so long that it's become just part of who you are. And it's actually not who you are. It's the thoughts that you're thinking. And if you can start to hear those thoughts and hear what you say to yourself, and start to notice that the part of you that hears what you say to yourself is not who you are, it's the thoughts that you're thinking. Now, then you can start to shift the way that you relate to those thoughts. And that is probably one of the highest leverage things that you can do, is start to notice that. And that's really just the first step. Once you start to notice that, you can listen to yourself in a new way and start to work with that low level of anxiety, probably fear, maybe harassing voice that has been driving you, and start to create a different relationship with it. When I did that, I was able to ultimately start to hear a different voice and recognize that most of my life I had been pushed by fear, which got results. It graduated first in my class from that push of fear at Georgetown Law, but it didn't feel good. And no matter how much success I created, if I was creating it from that push of fear, it was never satisfying. And ultimately, the only satisfying success that I've ever created came from instead a pull of desire. And in order to get to that pull of desire, I needed to shift my relationship with my thoughts and the way that those thoughts were driving me. So I want to encourage you to just start to notice those thoughts so that you can begin to notice you are not those thoughts, and they don't need to run you. You can start to shift that over time.
Awesome, Allie. Thank you for that. We're going to go over to Molly and then Beverly.
So my tip for everyone would be to manage your transitions between activities and relationships. One thing that has helped me tremendously over the years is the power of the pause. And I go through a ritual, so to speak, before I get on a client call or interact, leave a client call, and then go into my family, especially now when we're working from home. So what I do is I work with a strategy called pre-cycle and then recycle, where before you walk into a Zoom meeting or whatever it might be, or walking into a workshop or anything of that nature, where you just take a moment to ground and kind of get rid of anything that you took on from the previous activity. So I just take it, kind of just rip it out of my body, so to speak. And Tony Robbins talks about a pattern break, where if you just clap your hands or you rub your hands together, it just energetically shifts your entire energy. So I do that and just do a little mantra of just let me show up as the best version of me before I walk into this meeting, and make it about the other person and not interact with anything else that I have to worry about. And then after, I go through a recycle activity where I hand back the other person's healing, the other person's work back to them, and close the door, so I don't bring it into my family. And so after I'm done with the client meeting, I just really have the power of the pause, and I ground and just energetically give them back their work, and know that I did the best that I could showing up for them. And that allows me to move into my family dinner or whatever, my next client appointment, and not bring that energy. I think so often, as we all may or may not know, money is energy, everything is energy. And if you do not have a practice where you can prep your energy and really clean it and clear it and cut the cords, I think someone talked about that last Friday, in regards to working with your energy before and after each event. And it's really great as much you can enroll your kids into that as well. So often if I don't do that, my kids will call me on it. And when I walk into dinner or what have you, they're like, you're bringing everything out of that last meeting into this room right now. Go back and get rid of it, because we don't deserve to have all this right now. So it's really, really helped me to create some kind of ritual before pre-cycle, and then recycle after each activity.
Love that, Molly. Thank you. We're going to move over to Beverly now.
Hi. Okay, so for me, I think it's important to note that we as human beings are 100% habitual. And what this epidemic has really done and really brought to light is it's kind of forced us to make a change. And what that's done is that's in our brain, that's caused us to feel that panic and to feel that urgency to feel fear and get into fear. And I think, though, that what it has done is it still has brought to light that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So it doesn't matter whether or not we have this pandemic going on or not. All that's really happening is that we're still going to be doing our same habits that we were doing before the pandemic. Now we just have this sense of fear that is layered on top of it. And so for me, who primarily works with moms, and specifically working moms, we have had this epic change. For some of us, we're now homeschooling on top of working from home, or maybe we were working outside of the home and now we're working at home, or before when we weren't before. But what's happening is that we have this urge, or this need to sacrifice something. To feel like, okay, we can't control this, we can't change this, but what can we control and what can we sacrifice? And 9 times out of 10, it's always our self-care. And it's always, putting ourselves last on the burner. But the truth of the matter is that we were doing that before the pandemic started. And so for me, my number one for me, my number one tip would be to remember to get out of the shoulda, woulda, coulda, that vocabulary. We need to let that go and let go of the all or nothing mentality, because so often we're saying, oh, I should do this, I should do that, but I don't have time and I have to do all this stuff. And we're using all of our circumstances as reasons to just not start. And now with the pandemic and COVID happening, it's just piling on even more. So my number one tip would be to just let go of that all or nothing mentality and embrace all or something. And so I would say to get present and to prioritize 5 minutes. That's it. It doesn't have to be 30, it doesn't have to be an hour, but I would say 30 or 5 minutes. That's all you need for yourself to just get present and ask yourself what it is that you need, whether it is in the movement department, the stress department, or the nutrition department. But you're just spending 5 minutes getting present with yourself and saying, it's okay that this is all I have right now in terms of time, and that's enough. Because it's like when you are, when you're on an airplane, right? And they tell you you need to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help your kids, before you can help someone else. That is what this 5 minutes is going to do. It's you putting on the oxygen mask for yourself so that you can be more present for your kids. Or if you don't have kids, you could be more present for your work, for your clients, for the company, whatever, or for your clients as a lawyer. That is why, and it gets easy to sacrifice that and to say, oh, I don't need that, when the reality is that is exactly what you need in order to be your, best self.
Awesome. Love that. I'm actually going to have an echo. I've been trying to figure out how to get us live on Facebook while everybody's talking. And I need to figure out how to get this sound stop coming through. Give me 1 second. Okay, fix that. I will get that working. I am sure of it before we're done. I love what you were sharing, Beverly, and I love what everybody shared. And the only thing that I'm going to share myself is that if you start to recognize, and this is something I learned, and I've been doing a really poor job of it lately, so I'm just going to come here with full honesty and transparency that I have not been doing this, but self-care is also important for you to demonstrate, if you have kids at home, to demonstrate to them the importance of it. So if you don't care enough about yourself to take care of yourself, then at least care enough about your kids for them to see that this is really important. My son has actually asked me a few times, Daddy, are we going to exercise now? Are we going to exercise now? He wants me to go on the exercise bike. And I'm definitely going to be getting back into that as soon as these live streams are over, because it was crazy hectic to get this all put together and put it out there. But I think that it's just another way to look at it. We're showing our children how to behave, and in this unique situation that we're in, where we're literally with them every minute of the day, and we can't get away from them and they can't get away from us. We have a prime opportunity to be a shining example of how they should act, and they are watching. They're watching what we're doing. So if nothing else works, maybe looking at it that way would help you to put in perspective how important it is to take care of yourself. So all of the different practices, at the end of the day, if you don't make the time to do them, they're not going to happen. And this might help you with making the time to do them. So folks, I asked you to put in the Q&A if you have any questions. Nobody has asked any questions. So I want to just take the conversation from here to maybe leading with my own experience, and that is that there's so much input into the current situation. There's anxiety from the news and the risks around us, and maybe I don't feel at risk personally, but I have elderly in-laws and parents who are getting there, and and I'm worried about their health. My daughter was studying abroad in Israel, and we finally just decided to bring her home. So on Sunday, she's going to be traveling from Israel to the US. She's going on a plane. Now, thankfully, the plane has 30 people on it. So she has a whole section to herself right now. I paid for an upgraded seat so that she's in the place where nobody's paying extra to sit. And, you know, hopefully I also, I talked to a connection that I had to somebody who's in emergency services there. And I hopefully procured an N95 mask for her to wear for the trip as well. You know, so I've taken care of those things, but there's still that nagging thought of like, okay, you know, she's going to be jeopardizing her health coming. But more importantly, when she comes, she's actually not going to come here. She's going to go to my parents' house, and then I'm not going to be able to hug her for 2 weeks. You know, I'm going to have to look at her through a window, you know, or, and basically it's just such a weird situation to be in. So on the one hand, you have all of those anxieties and the craziness. And then on the other hand, you have the everyday life. Oh my gosh, I've got to cook food for my family, and you know, we're just not going out and to get food from elsewhere. So, you know, even if I was sometimes doing takeout, now I've got to cook everything. And maybe I don't have time to plan and prep and make the meals the right way. So now I'm worried about it. Am I feeding everybody properly? And then what, you know, how do I feed myself in the mix if I'm eating differently than they are? That's another input. And then we're trying to get our work done. We're trying to build our business. So there's so many of these different things weighing on us and pulling us in different directions that by the time you get 3/4 of the way through the day, you get to the end of the day, you are just feeling so ragged and so torn apart. It's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. How do you deal with this? How do you compartmentalize it? How do you, what are the things that you can do to start to ease some of that? And if we're in this, if this is a marathon and we're in this for the long run, then we need tools to be able to get through this, to be able to change the way that we process things, the way that we're thinking and what we're paying attention to in order to make that happen. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just know, what do you think? What are some things that we can do to try to deal with this in a healthy way when probably most of us have been showing up to it in an unhealthy way that we're seeing now? Because you can do something for a certain period of time. I mean, I know I've lost 50 pounds 3 times dieting, right? I can diet for a period of time, but when I reach the end, it's like all hell breaks loose. I'm back, you know, back to the way that I was because I've been restricting myself for so long. It's kind of like that straw that broke the camel's back. It's, you know, it's all building up inside. We're a pressure cooker, and at some point we're just going to explode. And I think that we need to recognize that now and start to take some measures to decompress that, to allow it to not get to that point, and to really be able to not just survive this, but to actually learn how to live with it in a really healthy and peaceful way. So I'm going to open it up to you guys. Anybody who wants, just you know, unmute yourself and feel free to chime in for this.
Moshe, I'll start because I have a, you know, because it is a habit, you know, conversation, and in my opinion is a little bit to what I was saying earlier, is that we have, you know, we're 100% habit based, and so now when you're faced with all this change, what do you do? So typically I will have people start defining 3 MITs a day, which stand for most important task, and that comes from a book called, I think it's Zen Zone is what it was from. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in the chat. But Zen Zone is by the author Ken something, but it's 3 MITs a day that you are literally creating, and you want them to be so simple that it is a no-brainer that you will get it done, because your brain needs to see it in order to make the change. So your brain is literally going to fight you because it's part of the reptilian brain, it's part of that lizard brain, and it is designed to keep you alive. So anytime you're making any type of change, it's going to send an urgent, a sense of urgent warning to your brain that says, hey, no, we don't do that. Oh, you want to be healthy? No, we don't do that. Even if it's a habit that you're trying to change that is going to serve you. And research shows us that we need anywhere from 21 to 76 days in order to complete and change a habit and to really dig a neural pathway in the brain. And so here's the thing though, just because you create a new one doesn't mean that the old one doesn't exist. So you have to keep, that's why I make these 3 MITs so simple, literally as easy as like, I will shower today. I will take that 5 minutes and just get up 5 minutes earlier and breathe. And I will, maybe I'll make one change to my food. Like I will add vegetable at breakfast time. Whatever the 3 MITs are that I'm defining, I'm making them so easy and simple so that I can literally cross it off and say to myself, I did it. And I keep doing it every single day until it becomes automated, because your brain wants the automation.
Yeah. I would say if you're not exercising during this time, that's the one thing I would say everybody should be implementing exercise right now. And for those of you who aren't currently exercising, what often comes up when someone says, oh, you should be exercising right now, is they're like, oh my gosh, I got to go on a 3-mile run. I got to do 30 minutes of weight. I got to do an hour-long yoga class. And I want to go back to what Beverley says. When I say everybody should be exercising, I mean everybody should be taking 5 minutes, right? Can you take 5 minutes and do something? Now, if you want to do longer than that, awesome. Like you can totally do longer than that. But what Beverley was speaking to, the all or nothing mentality, when I say you should be exercising, your brain automatically wants to go to all the reasons why you can't. You don't have time, you don't have equipment, you can't go out your house, like all of these things. And I just want to bring it back and empower you to make a decision that it can be 5 minutes long. And if you start, for most people, and they say, I'm going to start this, I'm going to do 5 minutes of it. And if you want to continue, you can, but at the end of 5 minutes, you can stop because you've now done what you said you were going to do. And the amount of resources right now for working out at home, like it has never been this easy to work out at home. There is no excuse to be able to find something that you can do at home. And I would say if you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, 5 minutes. What exercise should I prioritize, Amber? Like, what exercise did I do? My response to you would be, what do you want to do? Like, what would be fun for you? And then go do a Google search for, like, if you want to like dance, you do like a free exercise dance workout. You will find something. If you want to go running, go running. If you want to lift weights, go lift weights. There's no like should right now, other than you need to be doing something. And exercise is one of the best ways to reduce our stress levels and to take us out of the things we're thinking and put us into like a different flow state. Exercise for me has been one of the ways that I've been able to cope. It's one of the ways that I've been able to maintain a consistency. I used to get up and go to CrossFit every morning at 6 a.m. I just now get up and I work out at 6 a.m. because it's just part of my routine and consistency. And keeping that the same for me has provided a stress relief that is unmatched and unparalleled.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think that's amazing, Amber, and I think that will really help everyone feel good. And I think it comes back all to that, your intention of like really asking yourself when you're wanting to move your body, like, am I doing this because I should, or I'm supposed to, or I've got to lose weight, or I've got to do this, and I've got to punish myself for all the food I stress ate last night? Or are you like, how can I move my body today in a way that's going to feel good for me? How can I make this easy and fun? How can I make this feel good? And focus your energy and attention there. And that's when it can become something that you enjoy, something that you want to do. And like Beverly's been talking about habits, it's then something that is easier to become a habit and become like just something you do because it feels good. So I check in with your intention too.
Yeah, so good, Madison.
For me, working out was always something I did not want to do. It sounds like, the three of you, you're like fitness professionals. It comes naturally to you to want it. I never wanted it. And I had to force myself to do it a lot in my earlier years. And then one day, maybe around 42 or 43 years old, I woke up in physical pain for the first time in my life. And I started to realize, oh, wow, if I don't actually start to take care of my body physically, my life is going to go downhill because I'll be in pain. And I posted this a little bit earlier. I find that so many of the ways that we're driven to do things is through force or choice. So I wish I had been able to choose sooner and not be forced into it. But now what I'm doing is, and this started 2 years ago, so it's not something that I just started now, but I do a workout online with a trainer for 30 minutes, 3 times a week. We do that on Zoom. And the reason that's really helpful for me is because if I just tell myself to go to the gym, or if I just say, oh, you should get outside and do a walk, I won't do it. I will sit in front of my computer all day, and all of a sudden it's dark out and I haven't eaten and I haven't done anything, and then it's time to, go to bed. And so the only way I've finally had to accept about myself that the only way I will do the things that are good for me is if I hire a person to be there with me. I will show up because my trainer is waiting for me. I will not show up if it's just for myself. And so one of the ways that I have really supported myself is to make the financial investments in having the person. And that appears in a number of ways in my life. And that trainer example is just a perfect one. And the great thing about being a lawyer is that we have the opportunity to make lots of money. And when we're making lots of money, we can then hire the support that we need to support us to do the things that don't naturally, that don't come naturally to us. And so I want to encourage all of you to make lots of money, serve your clients really well, and then hire all of the people who will help you with your nutrition, who will help you with your physical fitness, who will help you with your mindset, who will help you with your law practice so that you're not having to go it all alone. And recognize that's actually one of your roles in your community and in your society. It's to do your service so well that people want to pay you lots of money so that you can hire all the people in your community to support you in these various ways. And that's how we create the economy. And so your role as a lawyer is really important in that, and get the help you need to be accountable to your goals.
I love that.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. So I would say very much like Ellie said, you have to have accountability and consequences and enrolling other people with it. I have my attorneys actually enroll their client service coordinator or their key person and their spouse in regards to their goals around health. And you need to put that big rock in first. So whatever it is for you, I have Fridays blocked off, or pick a day where you can block off to work on your creative work, and enroll your client service coordinator to schedule that. In regards to your health builder, that goes in first. So my client service coordinators will actually schedule it in the attorney's calendar, and they're not allowed to come in the office until they do that. And you have to play tricks with yourselves. We're all competitive. Typically, there's no one harder on you than you are on yourself. So I would say whatever you have to do to put language in the scheduled appointment. I have one client service coordinator that puts for her attorney, it's going to yoga every morning, and she'll actually put that in there. And the scheduled appointments will say in it, yoga, ... no clients will hire a grouchy attorney. So just different language to really hold yourself accountable to the why you're doing it, because there's always strategic byproducts that come out of it and multipliers. And if you've ever exercised in the morning, or you've really invested in meditation or whatever you do, Tony Robbins, many different people call it breakfast of champions. And you know the difference of how you show up in the world when you start your day with really grounding and investing in your mind, body, spirit, all that, versus when you don't do it. So I can't say enough about enrolling people and hardwire it just like you would a client appointment, because it's that crucial and that important as it is to getting hired and generating revenue.
Thank you. Okay, I can talk about a principle that I teach. It's called self-leadership. I think that's the essence for us to get anything done, is if we can lead ourselves before leading any other people. So, and I have in my work 3 self-leadership is, for me, is the art of giving our thoughts, feelings, and actions more direction, flow, and purpose. And there are 3 pillars that are essential to have that self-leadership really grounded and embodied. And they are integrity, authenticity, and resilience. So I think if we have to have integrity, meaning we have to honor our own word first. To say we're going to commit to do something, to do it. There are other aspects to it, but I just want to be more brief on this. The second one is authenticity, is like show up our true self, is our actions a reflection of our beliefs. And when we can really be honest with ourselves, we can change. So if we are doing something that's conflicting with what we believe, then it's a good opportunity to change. And resilience, which is like, getting up after we fall. It's never giving up. It's really going for it, keeping it up. And also part of resilience for me is to build a support team, as Ali was talking about. I mean, and the support team is everything. It's like coaches, trainers, and teachers, mentors, the whole thing. From that space of self-leadership, then as a race car driver and having built a racing team in the past, I work a lot with performance. So for us to really perform at our best, we have to have some, let's say, hacks. And in fact, I put a little list. I'm working on something to help other people because I'm really trying to help myself in this period that we're locked in. So I put a list, and I can, after I talk to Moshe on how to create this, but 10 hacks for this is, the first one for me is to recalibrate my energy. I teach a system on energy management, on energy recalibration, on how to access your superconscious mind. So when we have this, which is, you can call it higher self, spirit, whatever you want to call it, but for me is our vibration in the quantum field. As we connect with that, I think it becomes much easier to reprogram your brain and reprogram every cell of your body with your information. And there are processes for that, centering, grounding, running energy mix, separations, and all that. Then my second hack is hydrate, is like really drinking water. Water is essential for life, like the breath, water comes second. Then move, as everyone is talking about any kind of movement. And I integrated in my routine here. I have a Pilates mini tower at home. I have physio ball. I have a mini gym here, and I live in a very small apartment. But I have everything that I need, like to take a break every 15, 20 minutes. I get up, get my bands, and start stretching myself, that kind of thing. Then organize. It's trying to organize everything, like the cooking. Like, do we have to, what kind of meal can we do? So it's a different thing for me because I'm the cook at home. My wife, I prepare the food for us. And now that she's at home, because she was running a school, the school is closed. So I have to think differently how to organize the cooking process. And for me, it's also a form of exercise. Connect is another hack. It's like trying to connect with someone every day, a different person. So I start reconnecting with my family now because I used to be very distant from them. Try to learn something new every day now. Refuel is another hack. It's like food. That's the eating process. What do you put inside? I think it's very important right now to pay attention to it, because I had to go through a lot of nutritional training myself. I learned how to nurture my body to heal from tumor, adrenal fatigue, and many other things. And today is very easy, like we tend to buy food that is highly processed. So especially now that we are at home, I think it's very important to pay attention to what we are ingesting, because that's going to change your moods, your thoughts. Just the food that you eat can impact big time. Nurturing, it's another hack. It's like, how can you nurture yourself? It's like I have a massage table here for 20 years. I use every week. I massage my wife and I receive body work. Now that I can't receive body work from an outside person, I'm training my wife, hopefully, to massage me so we can trade. And that's one way to not have touch deprivation, since we cannot hug our brothers and sisters up there. And the last one is to lead inspired. I try to go out there and now with the work and be an inspiration for others with the things that I'm doing. So those are my 10 hacks. And all based on self-leadership, is our ability to take care of our own energy, our thoughts, feelings, and actions. That's it. I talk too much.
Miguel, you can never talk too much. I loved every second of that, and I definitely need to get my hands on that list that you shared at the beginning. Anybody else want to chime in? If not, I'm going to bring on one of our attendees to ask a question. Actually, I think her question was posed specifically to Molly, and Molly has dropped off. So I'm not sure.
No,
Molly's here. Sorry, you're here.
Ellie dropped off.
Yeah, so Melissa, I'm trying to promote you to panelist, but it's not coming through. I don't know if it prompts you to say okay to that. I'm going to give it one more shot, and if not, then I will just pose the question for you. You can also, no prompts there. Okay, I'm just going to allow you to talk, and we'll do it that way. That should, your microphone should be open now. You should be able to talk, and I'm going to allow you to pose your question.
Can you hear me, Moshe?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, Molly, so I really like the idea of your pre-cycle, recycle, and was just wondering if you can go a little bit more in depth into how to do that, because, I have a really bad habit of not giving back the client's issues and like their healing to them and taking it on. So that sounds really, especially now, not being able to go out and work out at the gym was my big way of shutting it. So it really sounds intriguing to keep that mental health going.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your question. So for me, this is how I do it before I go into a meeting, a Zoom, what have you. Most of my clients are on Zoom. They're all over the nation, and I don't see any clients face-to-face, and I haven't for over 20 years now. So what I do is before I get on my Zoom or pick up a phone call for a sales call, whatever it is, I'll just kind of ground myself and pause for a minute. And really just, again, you can just shake it off of you like this and kind of just create a clear vessel. For me, I always carry it in my throat and my heart because I lead with heart. So I'll just physically like pull everything out, almost think of it like a vortex, like a vacuum, and everything just coming up from the top to the bottom and into a central location. I'll physically just like pull it out of me, kind of rub my hands together, and then I'll just shoot it out. And I will say a little mantra, and I'll just say, okay, universe, go in before me, put a protective bubble around me so I don't take on anyone else's energy, and I don't bring my stuff, in my opinion, into this, and just allow for me to be of service for this client. And that's what I'll do before. Any version of that, just really grounding yourself and making yourself a clear vessel, not bringing your stuff, but also not getting attached to whatever their stuff is. And for me, it just works so I can be fully, wholly present with the client and not interject any of my energy into it unless it's very helpful and useful. Afterwards, I will do the same thing. I'll kind of ground, and it really has helped me to put a protective bubble around me. It's almost like Teflon, don't let it stick. on me. And I do put myself in a protective bubble beforehand, so I don't, because I am very much a caretaker, and I'm a helper on the Enneagram, and any kind of assessments that I take, I lead with heart. Afterwards, I will again do a very similar process where I'll just energetically just say at the end, in closing, I will just say, okay, great, here's your homework. And I will give them, kind of verbally say it to them, because people love to have something to work on after a meeting. And I think we talked about this with you, Melissa, a couple other sessions ago, giving your clients homework and pre-work. So to take the pressure off of you and of over serving. So then afterwards, I'll kind of make some kind of verbal statement of, okay, great. Now kind of go forth and do your work, and letting them know. I got in the habit of saying, let me know where I can help. Feel free to reach out. I don't do that anymore at the end of my calls, because people would constantly do that. So I almost made a clear statement to saying, I'm closing the door until our next session. And of course, if they reach out, then absolutely. But it's amazing how much people don't reach out and constantly abuse my time, so to speak, because I didn't realize how much I was subconsciously telling them that was available 24/7. So I shifted my language and closing the door in the conversation. Then afterwards, I will just do a little kind of same thing of just taking it off, brushing it off, getting it off me, and just sending a loving prayer to the person I just interacted with, and giving them back their healing, giving them back their work, and giving them back their energy. So it's like closing a door, because energetically I always had this wide open door, and it was amazing how much people would constantly, as my coach would say to me, come and drop their bag of garbage on my front porch, and I would gladly take it and carry it like a backpack for them. And so I really worked very hard on my energy, and in addition to verbally paying attention to my language and not ending my emails and my verbal calls with people with just reach out if you need anything. And it really truly came to a screeching halt, where people were not constantly, to the point that it freaked me out. And in the beginning, I was like, wait, nobody needs me anymore. And until I was really aware of how much it did work. Does that help?
Yeah, I really like that idea of, closing that conversation and that door with them, because I think I do too send out that message of, call me when the next problem arises.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then I would begin to resent it until my coach helped me to say, well, actually, you're the one you're the biggest problem here, because you're teaching people how to behave.
Yeah, and I think that, especially now, we have to be careful about, somebody had mentioned it to me before, that I take a lot of other people's monkeys and put them on my back and solve their problems rather than enable them to solve their problems. So I like this because it sounds very similar to that.
Yes. And we have to remember too, that we're the experts in whatever we do. And so people are coming to us as an expert. So if we communicate to them, call me anytime, I don't have any healthy boundaries, there's no standards or process in how we operate, then they're going to assume it's acceptable. So again, we train people how to behave, versus if we outline the process and kind of paint the picture of how the journey is going to work and what your systems and your process are, people are grateful for that, because they just assume, I tell attorneys this all the time, if you just tell clients to call you and you're not facilitating the conversation, because a lot of times attorneys will say, well, I feel like I'm always giving away free advice. I'm like, well, because you're not facilitating the conversation. You're not showing people how this is supposed to go. So the prospective client or existing client, they believe it's acceptable because you're teaching them it's acceptable.
Yeah, I think this is a really good time to make this change, because people are expecting behaviors to change as a result of this virus. So I think this is a good time to even change that emotional thing that we do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Molly.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I just wonder if any of our other panelists have anything to add to for Melissa. We have different minds in the room when this similar question has arisen. So if anybody wants to jump in and give her feedback on this specific problem, I'm happy to go through that. Perfect.
Molly.
All right, so folks, what we're going to do now is, Melissa, thank you so much for coming forward and asking a question and getting Molly to talk more about that, because I love this process that Molly does. What we're going to do now is we're at the top of the hour. We're going to wrap up the live stream. I'm going to go to the panelists that are here. Just one parting tip, one parting piece of advice that you want to share after what's already come up that you'd like to share. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Madison, and she's going to lead us through a final meditation to close this out. And I think that that's an amazing way to end 10 days of just a marathon of running through all the different things that you can do to make yourself, position yourself in a better way, personally, professionally, during this crazy trying time. So I'm really excited to close it out with something that's going to center you and bring you to a place of calm and peace. And that's how you should enter into the weekend and the coming week that's coming up, and see if you can try to recreate the way that you are approaching each of these days and the way that you're approaching the life around you with the new, armed with the new tools that you learned about today. So let's just go through real quick. Miguel, you'll be up first, and then we'll go to Molly.
Yeah, I think, my goodbye for this is like, I think we are experiencing a very exciting time, as weird as it can be, because we all have now the gift of choice. We can really make conscious choices now on how we want to go about this whole thing. And I think it is a time to choose, is a time to do, and is a time to dare. And I leave you with that.
My parting tip would be gentle on yourself right now. Anybody who is watching this live stream and or the replay, you are showing up more than you're probably giving yourself credit for. There are many people that are paralyzed and or just really frozen in fear right now. So every day that you are focusing on your top 3, someone else said that, I really love that, your top activities for the day, and you're moving the needle even 1% further in the right direction in a place of helping and serving people, you're doing better than most. So really give yourself a tremendous amount of grace and be gentle on yourself. And if you have to remind yourself 100 times a day, do that. Put sticky notes anywhere in your bathroom, in your home office, on your computer, by your coffee maker, by your wine, wherever you need to put it, to just keep reminding yourself you are more than enough and you're doing more than enough by even just showing up and being in service.
Awesome, Molly. We're going to go to Beverley and then Amber.
So I'll give you a very tangible strategic tool for my parting tip, and it would be, if you do nothing else or you're still stuck on what to do in terms of movement, it would be to walk. Take a walk and try and do it outside, because your body needs vitamin D, even if the clouds are covering that sun, even if you're just going up and down your driveway, or you're in, an apartment and you're just going up and down a block, it would be to walk, because not only will it help you move, it will activate that parasympathetic nervous system, which means that it will calm that body down and help you manage stress.
Awesome. I love that, Beverley. Amber, you're up.
Mine was very similar to Beverly, so I'll just, say a +1 for what Beverly said. Mine would be to do 5 minutes of exercise today, and commit to 5 minutes of exercise today, and see how it impacts you, see how it helps you, and just do something. And if you want to continue on it, you want to make it a longer walk, or you want to make it a longer exercise session, you can totally do that. But once you get to that 5 minutes, you have done something for yourself today that is going to move you towards a more calm and peaceful state, and is going to do something when we move our body. Like, it releases all these endorphins and stuff that help us to be able to cope with stress better. So make it a walk, make it, do some burpees, do some push-ups, whatever, dance, but commit to 5 minutes a day.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber. So Madison, we're going to go over to you. I'll let you take control here and lead us through that meditation. And folks, if you have enjoyed this live stream, don't forget to give our sponsors a whirl. Remember that they're the ones who really, I facilitated this, but they're the ones who made it possible. There's no way I would have assembled my team and put the amount of effort into this if they weren't covering part of the cost of that. Not that I don't love you, I do, but it just wouldn't have made sense for us to allocate all the resources for it. So they're all offering something for free for you. And I just want you to accept that, hey, let me check them out. And, they brought me 10 days of value. Let me check them out. We definitely would appreciate that you do that for them. So real quick, not going to go through the whole spiel. Smith AI, use the code Smith COVID-19 if you want to try their virtual reception service out. gngf.com/free-book. They'll ship you the book that you need for everything about turning clicks into clients online for your law firm. And New Law Business Model, join their free Facebook group, the Lifestyle Lawyers Club, and learn information there. And finally, the Law Firm Growth Incubator, $27 a month. That price is going up on Monday. You want to make sure you get in before that happens. profitwithlaw.com/incubator is where you go to sign up. Madison, take it away.
Awesome. Okay, I'm really excited. So in line with everything Molly taught today, which I thought was so amazing, I think we can all just start with your eyes open, casual, and just like shake out the energy, rub your hands together, whatever you need to do to really ground into this space right here, become present. And if you need a protective bubble, go ahead and put that on now. And just go ahead and close your eyes, sitting down or lying down in a comfortable position. And just start by taking a few deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And with every inhale, you imagine that you're breathing in beautiful, healing, calming energy. And as you breathe in, you're nourishing your mind and your body and your spirit with everything it needs today in order to relax, to heal, and to rebalance. Just continue breathing, focusing on that inhale, focusing on breathing in that healing, calming energy. And now shifting your attention to your exhale. With every exhale, you imagine you are letting go of and releasing any anxiety, tension, or worry that you've been holding on to. You start to release anything that's no longer serving you. And if it helps, you can imagine the tension in your body as big knots. And every time you exhale, you feel the knots just soften and completely unravel. And maybe you even feel your shoulders begin to drop. You just feel all the tension melting away from your body. And as you continue breathing, you start to feel yourself surrender, relax, and let go of control, releasing any uncertainty, doubt, or worry, and trusting that everything is going to be okay. Just focusing on your breath. And if you notice any thoughts come up, that's okay. Just let it happen. Imagine your thoughts are just like waves in the ocean. They come into your mind and then they very easily flow right back out and you let them go. And just taking a moment now to check in with your body, check in with your mind, check in with your spirit, and ask yourself, ask your intuition, what is it that I need today in order to feel my best? And just trusting that whatever comes up is exactly what you were meant to hear today. And if nothing is coming up, just trusting that your subconscious mind is hearing and processing everything you need today in order to relax and rebalance. Just breathing still, inhaling through the nose and exhaling out your mouth for a few more breaths. And we'll close out with a few affirmations. So I want you to just repeat after me. My body takes care of me and guides me to harmony and balance. It is safe for me to take the time and space to take care of myself, my mind, my body, and my soul. I am in control of how I think and how I feel. It is my right to be at peace and to feel calm. I deserve the time and energy it takes to take care of myself and prioritize my needs. I have everything within me that I need to feel completely at peace, relaxed, and calm. And now just checking back in with how you feel, noticing if it's any different. And it's okay if it's not, just checking in, noticing how you feel, and setting an intention for the rest of the day. What is it that you need in order to feel your best? What is your intention? Maybe it's to hold on to this energy for the rest of the day. Maybe it's to implement Molly's energy releasing ritual. Whatever it is, just let that come to you. And one final big breath, inhaling in through your nose. And then out through your mouth, releasing any lingering tension that you're holding on to in your mind or in your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. How was that?
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully I helped you guys feel good. And I don't know, Moshe, if you're sharing the recording, but if you do, everyone can just come back to this, and that can be your 3 to 5 minute thing that you do, and that can be more than enough.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. And this recording will be shared out. It's currently on Facebook. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. And on top of that, we also repurpose it into the podcast. And I'm going to have to put a disclaimer at the front of the episode that if you're driving or exercising or anything like that, you might want to save the end of the podcast to use when you're able to just make the time to sit there and listen to it in a safe manner. But totally, Madison, that was great. And to all of my panelists, thank you so much for your generosity, your time, for being here, and for giving so much on this live stream. A lot of amazing insight and tips, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. And to my attendees, I appreciate you for investing the time in yourself to show up, whether it was today or to any of our other broadcasts that we did, and recognizing that there is a lot of value in getting support, and there's a lot of value in getting help. And I hope that you continue to recognize that and to not be afraid to work with somebody. It doesn't need to be somebody paid. It doesn't need to be an official coach, but we don't see our own stuff. We get stuck in our own things, and we just allow ourselves to get drawn into the things that we're feeling, the things that we're experiencing. And if we don't have an outside party to help us to recognize that that's happening, to help us figure out how to move forward, how to get out of it, it's very difficult to do on your own. So hopefully these live streams have demonstrated to you that there's a lot of value in getting outside perspective and seeing what other people are thinking. I am certain that you at every step of the way saw that there was another way to look at things differently than the way that you were. And today is the epitome of that. And that's why I'm happy that I ended up having this as the last one to close these series out. And if you guys have enjoyed it and you need more of this, let me know. We'll figure out how to put something together for you again. But hopefully this situation doesn't last forever. It lasts for as short a period of time as is possible, with everybody staying safe and healthy. But at the same time, we're going to see, the longer this lasts, we're going to see things change in the way that we do things. And we're going to figure out a way to make business as usual without leaving our homes. So you need to start to seize the opportunity to see what's out there and to start to figure out how to show up in your best way so that you can be ready and be prepared and be primed to be able to take advantage of that and to be able to be there when that happens. So once again, thank you to all of you. And this has been a lot of fun for me and really enjoyable. And I hope that it brought value to you. And with that, go and enjoy your families, take the weekend and really just decompress and go back and listen to the recording of this video specifically to help you to make it through the weekend and to start to reprioritize and reshuffle the way that you're doing things. And maybe you can start implementing some of these techniques into your life. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. So thank you, everybody. Take care. And we will we'll see you out there on the internet for sure. I don't know about in person, but take care.
Thank you for tuning into the Profit with Law podcast. Your feedback is extremely valuable to us, as well as helping us reach more people with this valuable content. Please leave us a rating and review in your favorite podcast directory. Join us again next time when we are back with even more strategies to profit with law.